We are joined by Monica Hilton. So she owns Full Content Labs, also former affiliate owner. So Monica is going to literally take a deep dive through social media today. So a couple other people I do want to recognize on this call before we jump in. So Katie Hogan, our West Coast affiliate rep, is here. Andrew Charlesworth, the Midwest affiliate rep, is here. There may be some others, but they're not on camera, so we can't see their face. So we're not going to count it right now. So this is being recorded as well, and we will send this recording out. Monica, you can take it from here.
All right, sounds good. First, I just want to say thank you guys for joining today. I know that most affiliate owners, when you hear the word content, are like, this is going to suck, but I know I need it. So, my goal for today is just to make it as fun as possible and to answer all your questions about content. But mainly, a lot of times when we think about content, we think about the things that we have to do or we're supposed to be doing. But I want you to look at it from the perspective of it actually can make you some really good revenue and it can improve your retention. So those are the two things that we're going to be diving into today to make sure that when you walk away from this call, you'll have some actionable items that will allow you to go back to your gym today, change a few things hopefully, or ask for help and get going with that. So thank you. I have bailed on many a webinar over the years because of being really busy as an affiliate owner. So if you're here in the moment, I appreciate that. And otherwise, we've got the recording for people afterwards. I'll share all my contact information if you have questions that don't get answered on this call for today. So I'm going to share my screen, and I won't be able to see you anymore. So just make sure. Whoops. Let's see here. Okay, someone tell me that you can see this.
Yep, you're good.
Yes.
Got it? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Okay, so reps, retention, and revenue. Like I said, we're going to focus on the retention and revenue part for today. And here's what we're going to be going over on the agenda. So we're going to talk about how content can help your gym to grow. The number of times you're going to hear me say, don't make it complicated today will be overwhelming because really it's just designed to simplify this whole thing so that you can do it in the little time that you have as spare time. 7 ways that content can level up your business. I'm going to give you the top 10 simple and impactful content changes that you can make today. Also, after this, I am going to put together those 10 items in a PDF that hopefully Gordon will help me to send out to all of you so that you don't have to feverishly take notes throughout this whole presentation. And then I'm going to give you some real life examples from gyms and clients that I've worked with along the way that hopefully will help you to just kind of spark some creativity and be able to implement them in your own gyms as well. So this presentation isn't about me, but I'll give you a little bit of background so that you know who is giving you this information for today. So I grew up in Wisconsin and I moved to Indianapolis. So I'm in Andrew's region. I'm a Midwest affiliate owner from the past. So I moved to Indianapolis in 2009 to work in IndyCar racing. I started a marketing and PR company in 2011 when I was working in motorsports. And then I opened the gym as my exit plan from racing. So while I was doing racing, I realized that I had a passion for fitness and helping people live better lives. And so I decided to open the gym, but I was doing both at the same time. So I had my motorsports career and I had the gym going on. And a lot of you affiliate owners who know sometimes you got to do a whole lot of things to keep the doors open for a while and just keep it running. So the one thing I would say about this is I see you. I do specifically remember one race where we finished the race at 11 p.m. I flew back to Indy and I had to go vacuum my gym at like 3 a.m. So I know the struggles. I've been through what you've been through. Some of you I know through Push Press. I worked for Push Press for about 2.5 years as their content manager. So I met a lot of you along the way. And then last year I opened Full Send Content Lab, which is what I'm doing now. The idea was I love writing and I know the gym world. So how can I combine the two of them to help gym owners with content like we're doing today? And then big update, as of last Monday, I'm actually a gym owner again. We had a really weird situation here in the Indianapolis area that the gym I was at ended up getting sold to another gym owner. A lot of our members didn't like it. They wanted to start their own thing, asked me if I would start it. I said, absolutely not. And then somehow it ended up happening. So I will probably be an affiliate owner in the near future when we register and get affiliated again. So this world just brings things full circle. And that's a little bit of background. And then just a few things I love, and I put my Instagram handles at the bottom because there might be things that we connect on, and I love making friends in this space. So I love a heavy barbell. I really love coffee. It's about to be Notre Dame football season. I love the Detroit Lions, and then
Yes.
ultimately, I'm here because I love helping gym owners succeed. So if you vibe on any of those things, follow me. I would love to connect with all of you guys for today. And if you just have questions after this and want to chat, I'm happy to help. So here's a few things about how content can help your gym grow. I know as a former affiliate owner that the reality is that you don't want to. You probably don't have the time for it. And for most gym owners, content is not why you opened your gym. You opened your gym to help people be healthier or fitter. You opened it because you love training people or coaching. You did not open it because you're like, man, I can't wait to write blogs and content. So that's the reality of it. But the bad news is that you have to do it in order for your gym to grow, especially from a revenue and retention perspective. So that's my goal today, is to drive home those two things and give you real life examples of how that can happen. The great news is, as I said, it doesn't have to be complicated. So you can either hire someone or trade for a membership, I would say, maybe, or you can make a big impact just by doing a few simple things yourself. So a couple of statistics to back that up. Content marketing costs 62% less than traditional marketing, but generates about 3 times as many leads. And small businesses that prioritize content are 13 times more likely to see a positive return on investment for what they've invested time wise and dollars wise. So, as we said, don't make it complicated. Let's start with what is content, because a lot of times when I talk to gym owners, the first thing they think of when I say content is social media posts. And then there's this groan of like, no, I'm not doing it as much as I should be, or my social media sucks. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be posting. Content is so much more than just social media. So, content is the words and images or videos that you're using to showcase your business. And your content strategy is the combination of the platforms that you're delivering those words and images on.
Doing.
So, as an example, if you were a ninja, content would be your sword, and content strategy would be your plan for winning the battle. A little bit more recent example, if you were Snoop Dogg, content would be the words that you're rapping, and your content strategy would be your plan to end up as a commentator for the Olympics. So that's the difference between content and content strategy and what gym owners normally think content is. A couple examples. Your website copy is content, email marketing, blogs, social media. If you have a CRM, like for instance, if you are a push press client, you might have a CRM called Grow. And that is just basically your communication method with your members, leads, former members, etc. And content is all of those things. Content is the communication that you're putting out there via texts and emails and things like that. And a lot of times gym owners don't think of that as content, but it is. The full list is really extensive. So the key is to find the right combination of platforms and then create the right content on those and then repurpose it across a number of them so that you're not wasting your time coming up with thousands of ideas, each for separate channels. You're just repurposing across them, and we'll talk about that as well. And the goal is ultimately to help your business grow. So here's a strategy tip. Everything should be cohesive among the things that you are putting out there. So no matter what platform you're on, your brand voice and your messaging should sound the same. An example is if your Instagram makes your business and your culture feel like you're having a giant party all the time and everybody loves it and the community is just having a blast, but then you go to your website and the copy is very dry or just like doesn't inspire people at all. Or same thing, if they walk in your door and have a meeting with a sales guy at your gym and he is very much like a drill sergeant, well, your Instagram makes it feel like we're having a really good time here. And then I walk in the door or I go to your website and it's like, so what is the real culture? What is the real vibe of this gym if everything isn't cohesive? So you kind of want to make sure from the start you figure out what do you want our brand voice to sound like, and then make that cohesive across all your platforms. So 7 different ways that content strategy can level up your business. Number 1, we can attract new members with it. If we're doing all the right things, we're obviously going to improve our search engine optimization, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and attract new members to the gym. We can build brand authority and trust. as we know, as CrossFit affiliate owners, we have the secret weapon to helping people live better lives. And so we are able to build the authority to show them that we can do that, and then the trust that they'll give us to allow us that opportunity. Saving money. Like I said, a lot of times gym owners, when they're just starting out or have no idea what to do, will start throwing money at paid ads or other ways that, whatever, printing flyers out in parking lots. Um, we can actually save money if we do content the right way and make it a long-term plan versus just a short-term spend. We can stand out from the competition. So if you're like me, my gym had CrossFit gyms 30 seconds in every direction when I was open. If you do content correct, when you're showing up, when you're ranking on Google and people are searching your website, you will stand apart from the competition in terms of what they're saying and how they're presenting their business and what you're saying and how you're presenting yours. We can improve member retention. So we'll talk about this along the way, but the first 90 days are super important, as we know. And then the long-term strategy as well is what's going to keep them there, and content can help with that. You can promote and upsell additional services. So this is where the revenue category comes in. With revenue, there are so many opportunities that we just simply aren't asking for. And so we'll cover some of those as well, of like, what are you selling, or what do you have the potential to sell, and how are you going to make that happen with the content that you're putting out there? And then finally, when we do all these things and we've got our content rocking and rolling, you can analyze data to say, that platform clearly isn't working for me, but this one is doing really well, and maybe you didn't expect that, but allows you to pivot and say, now I'm going to work more towards this one, a little bit less towards this one, but this ultimately is what allows me to adjust and adapt as I'm going along the way. So, top 10 simple and impactful changes you can make today. Whenever people ask me where to start, this is the number one thing I say. Do you know who you're talking to? Who is your target avatar? If you look at the 4 or 5 people that we've got here, this muscly dude on the left, who is probably super interested in the new Pukey the Clown apparel that just got dropped, is not going to be the same messaging as the grandma here. So we want to make sure that we are learning every single thing about our target avatar or your buyer persona so that you can speak directly to them. Even in that case, the guy in the blue shirt and the 2 girls, we're probably not even going to have the same messaging, even though they look like they might be in the same age demographic. But what you want to do is learn things like, what are, like, think about your target person, right? The number one, if you don't know where to start, I always recommend thinking about like your clone member. Think about the person that's in your gym that you're like, man, I wish I could clone that person. They always pay on time. They come in and they cheer other people on. Or, you know, if you've got a different vibe in your gym and it's more competitive, it might be like that person is games bound someday. Whatever that like clone member is that you're like, I wish my gym was filled with this person. Think about that person, because what we want to do by focusing on that person is, we can look at their background, we can look at the struggles they have. What is their schedule like? Do they work an 8 to 5? Do they have rotating schedules? What are the things that in the past they have set as goals and were able to achieve, or excuses they made along the way? That also helps us determine what platforms they're probably on. For instance, grandma here is probably not on TikTok. She might be. She probably has a TikTok channel. But like, what we want to do is figure out all the things that we can about this person so that we can target that person to write our messaging towards. So if you know who you're talking to and you've learned every detail, that's how you can figure out how to provide value. So you can say to this person, I have the plan for your success. And that's how you're going to sell them on it. And that's when they reach that point of like, take my money as long as you can provide me with what I need. And then the other thing I'd add on here too is engage, don't broadcast. So when you have found the different channels that you are able to connect with these people, the broadcast is saying, look how great we are. The engage is saying, I'm going to ask questions, or I'm going to put out content that people are going, that will resonate with people and that they want to respond to. Because a lot of times, even in our sales pitches, if you think about that, we tend to talk about like, look at how great our Rogue equipment is, or this is what our class schedule looks like. But someone walks in your door because they want to lose weight, or they want to be fitter, or they want to be able to play with the grandkids. So you can provide the content that that gets them to engage by finding out what they need and then asking the right questions or putting out that content and asking for a response instead of just talking about how great your gym is. So I would say don't broadcast, start engaging. All right, number two, think about how everything you publish is perceived. So put yourself in the shoes of someone who has never been to your gym. And this is especially relevant for your website and your social media posts. So I'll give you an example. I recently was looking at a gym's social media or their Instagram page, and their whole grid was filled with like group pictures after class of everyone together, arm in arm, super sweaty, and it was just like this was their whole grid. On one hand, I understand the idea of showing community, right? Like, look at all these different types of people we have here. Look how much fun and sweat they had during class. But on the other hand, if I take a step back and I put myself in the shoes of somebody who's never been to that gym before, if I'm overweight and I'm pretty intimidated to walk through your door, the first thing I think of is I have to have my picture taken after every single class. And like that is enough to make someone say I'm going to the LA Fitness down the road, because no one is taking pictures of me in a group setting after. I'm not forced to be taking pictures after class. So take a look at your Instagram grid and say, if I didn't own this gym, what would I think about this space if I wasn't in it? So I always use the example, stop with this snatching guy if this snatching guy is not your target audience. Yes, it's super badass that we can do that and lift a lot of weight. And it's so cool that we can do muscle ups and things like that. But for somebody who has never been in the gym before, those are all the things where they think CrossFit is the CrossFit games. And then they're like, I can't do CrossFit. So think, just like I said, analyze what your page looks like to the person who has never been in your door before. Always be professional. Bring in your brand. Use your colors, use your font, but like be professional. And another good example is like a lot of times we will, as we're coaching, walk through class and snap pictures, and then we'll use those on Instagram. But think about like no one has ever taken a flattering picture in an ab mat sit up, especially in the back part of an ab mat sit up. So stop with those pictures, but also like workout faces are not always the best. So I would rather have you at the beginning of class, if it's a kettlebell swing day, which is an accessible movement, walk through the class and be like, I'm going to go through before you're super sweaty. I want you to do a kettlebell swing, smile at the top. I'm going to snap a few pictures. And those are the ones that your members are going to share anyway. It's not the ones where they're like, drool is coming out of their mouths because that lift was super heavy. Like, think about the professional photos that people will want to share and that people who are looking at it will want to see. And then also, just as a trigger warning, don't use your gym socials for your personal posts. So I've seen one too many gym owners that are like, here's a picture of my daughter's graduation. Once again, put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's never been there before and they're like, oh, I thought this was a gym. Like, think about it from that perspective. Just open your own personal social media account and have it for that, and then your gym is for your gym. All right, number three, fix your website today. So a big mistake that I usually see from gym owners is having the website speaking more to their members than it is to their leads. Think about the website as only a tool for leads to be converted to members or to book an appointment. It shouldn't be super complicated. It shouldn't answer every single potential question that they might have, because what reason do they have to contact you then? If you are answering every single question that every lead has ever asked you, I don't have a reason now to call you, to email you, to book a consultation because you just gave me all the answers. And probably if you gave me all those, one of those things is enough for me if I'm kind of on the fence to be like, never mind. So like, you want to pique their interest with your website copy and drive everything to simply booking that intro session, whether it's a first free class, whether it's a consultation, however your gym is set up, but make it super simple and filter everything into just doing that. So take out the things about gym events, like social events and things like that. You can use other platforms to talk to your members about that, but right now we're just trying to solve our leads problems to get them to book. Be sure to optimize your website for search engines. Again, we'll get to that a little bit later because I know that's a hot topic that a lot of people have asked questions about. But ultimately, what I always tell people is stop selling and start helping. It's as simple as building trust and showing them that you have a plan for their success. And you can do that through the copy on your website. If you need help with that, obviously I can help, but just keep it simple. Trust yourself in that you have enough experience in helping people to be able to just write down how you help people and get more people in the door. Number 4, understand and dial in the 3 types of content marketing. So owned, earned, and paid are the 3 types of your content marketing. Owned is anything that you own. It's the things that you have control over, like your website, your blog, your email, and your social media. One thing I'll remind you is don't forget that Google Business page has the opportunity to make posts. So the same way you're doing your social media, if you just rolled your eyes and like, yeah, like I just need another social media platform to be on, Google is one of those that you shouldn't ignore. If you have time for 1 or 2,
Wiggle your
make it like
mouse.
what was that?
Monica, your screen went to sleep or we can't see it.
Oh, hold on 1 sec. Am I back?
Whoa.
Whoa, that was a lot of you. Hold on.
Yeah, it just went to sleep.
Yeah.
Weird.
Perfect.
Okay. Good. Can you see now?
Yeah, number 4. Yep.
Okay. Thank
Yep.
you. Yes. Okay. Tell me if that happens again. I didn't go to sleep on me. Okay. So owned is your owned content. Your blogs, your email, your social media posts, and your Google business page. If you're only going to do a couple of types of social media, Instagram and Google business page. Your earned is things that you have to earn. So your Google reviews, social media shout outs, or when people tag you on social media, and then features in local publications. Those are the things that you have to go out and earn. You have to do something good in order to get that particular type of marketing. And then paid is paid. And there's nothing against paid. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Those are going to be like your ads on social media platforms and even things like billboards or direct mail, where you are exchanging dollars for eyeballs on your business. So if you understand the 3 types of marketing, you can look at the different ones and say, wow, I'm really crushing it in the owned area, but we could do a lot better in the earned area. So if you kind of look at these in 3 different silos, you can focus on the ones that you're doing well at and adjust the ones that you're not doing well at, and then make changes along the way. Number 5, like we talked about, is to repurpose your content. So almost everything you create can be repurposed across multiple platforms. To give you an example, if you create a blog about how easy it is to get started with a fitness routine, or even like the myths about CrossFit that are actually myths and not actually the truth, so I'm going to give you the truth. You create a blog about that. Publish it on your website, obviously, for the refresh content and the SEO benefits. Link it in a lead nurture email campaign. So essentially what you're going to be doing is using that content when you're speaking to leads, because that's a question that they probably have. So put that in an email that's going out to them, make a short reel about it on your social media channels, and then get a local publication to feature the same story, or come out and do an interview with you or something like that. Same topic, you're just going to be across multiple channels for that. So that leads me to the question a lot of gym owners give me is like, I don't know what to post. I never have any ideas. How am I supposed to keep coming up with fresh ideas? So number 6 is to write down your top 10 questions. What are your members and leads asking you over and over again? And this will make a very simple start to your content list. For an example, is CrossFit really as intense as I've heard? You may get that question from people who are interested in a membership at your gym. What equipment do I need? That might be a question that you get from people who have just joined your gym and they're looking around and they're seeing knee sleeves and belts and grips, all these kind of things where they're like, what is the equipment that I need to do CrossFit? These are the things that you can use to create content around. Something like, is CrossFit really as intense as I've heard? It would be a really good blog post because you can talk about those myths and then the truths around it. And then you can link it in that email campaign, and then you can make social media posts about it. What equipment do I need is a fun one for social media, because we've all seen the video of seen different videos of people who are like head to toe in all the CrossFit equipment. But that's a fun way for you to create some kind of content around like, these are the things you really need. Yes, it would be helpful if you had a jump rope so you don't have to adjust the one every time in class. But no, are you going to need all of the things on day one? Absolutely not. We've got you covered. So write down those questions that you are asked over and over again and use that as the start of your content list. I will also add to that Chat GPT. A lot of times people are like, are you super adverse to Chat GPT because you're a content person? Not at all. Get ideas from Chat GPT. It's as simple as plugging in, like, what are people asking? If someone was going to join a CrossFit gym, what would they be asking? And like, allow the tools to help you out. Just don't copy and paste the content. We'll get to that a little bit later. Number 7, use social media to support your sales, not to close them. This was a question we talked about in a webinar I did for a different affiliate group. And essentially the idea is that your social media can be very frustrating if you are looking at your insights and you're saying, I am not selling memberships from Instagram. It's pretty unlikely that you're going to sell memberships from Instagram. That's just not the way people operate. Yes, if you were running a paid ad that sold a membership directly to maybe like a 24-hour gym or something, maybe. But that's just not, as you know, like the sales consultation, the whole process of getting them in and helping them understand what we do is more complicated than a transaction on a social media website. So think of your Instagram channel as a visual support to your website, and think about the way that people would research your gym, whether they heard about it from a friend, whether they somehow heard the name of your gym and they're curious. They are probably going to go to your website and they're going to do a little research there. They might go to your Instagram as another way to see what your gym is like, because Instagram is visual. So it gives them a glimpse into your business. It shows them what the community is like. Do I see someone there that looks like me? Are those movements accessible? And like, can I do the things that they're doing there? So use your Instagram to show the experience in your gym. And then keep it updated constantly. So I always say a minimum of 3 times per week. Do what you can, but think about the way that you would look at someone else's Instagram. It doesn't matter if it's a CrossFit gym or any other business. If you looked at someone's Instagram account and they haven't posted since 2021, you're going to think, 1, maybe they aren't in business anymore, or 2, they just aren't savvy enough to do social media at all, or maybe 3, they just don't care. But none of those things you want people to think about your business. So if for no other reason, it is just showing people we are here, we are in business, our doors are open, and this is the experience that you can have at the gym. So you will be super frustrated if you are literally trying to get a sale out of every post that you make. But if you use it as a long-term visual tool, as like the visual backup to your website, it will really help you out in terms of people understanding the culture and the vibe in your gym. Number 8, stop ignoring your email lists. So for marketing, email lists are one of the most valuable assets that you have, but only if you use them. And chances are most of you have a pretty extensive email list. So you're going to start with segmenting your lists. Break it up into the simplest way I always think is your leads, your current members, and your former members. Don't make like 8 different segments. Just, it's super simple. The people who are interested in your gym, the people who are in your gym, and the people who used to be in your gym. That way, when you segment them that way, you can provide the value that each segment is looking for. Leads are looking for information because they want to join your gym. Your current members are basically looking for all of well, we're going to talk about how you're going to sell to them. And then your former members, we want to get them back in the gym. So there's a big opportunity mostly for revenue and retention in this middle group, but revenue from people coming back and leads coming in, those are the big revenue opportunities there. They're a little bit less complicated. There's one thing we're aiming for with both of those. And then I always say, don't forget the most important thing is your call to action for any of these segments in your email, and honestly, in a lot of the other content that you're creating. If you want something, you have to ask for it. So many times we as gym owners just assume that people know we're trying to sell memberships, or people know that I'm trying to sell FitAid. I have it in my fridge. but we're not asking. We're not giving them any deals on it. We're not reminding them why Fit Aid is going to help them feel super refreshed after their workout and that it tastes delicious. It's like we're expecting them to know that we are trying to make money at this business, but we're not actually asking for it. And you'd be surprised at the jump in revenue and the jump in response you will get when you just simply end with a call to action and make it super simple for them to take that step. So don't forget your call to action. Number 9, strict before kipping and organic before paid. We all know and love our strict before kipping, and I'm a firm believer in it. But before you spend money on paid advertising, make sure that you are doing everything you can with organic. I have no problem with paid advertising. In fact, for those of you who know, someone just started mowing their lawn out here. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Okay. For those of you who know the guys over at Lasso, Blake used to own a gym like 30 seconds down the road from me. So I have nothing against paid. And I think if you have the opportunity to do paid and drive even more, do it. But I also think there is a bigger opportunity with organic for the long term. So look at all the ways that you're spending your marketing dollars and use the ROI rule of thumb. If you've never read the book, Your Marketing Sucks by Mark Stevens, it's a little outdated now because it's like pre internet and pre online advertising days, but the concept behind their rule of thumb is it still applies. Every dollar you're spending should yield more than $1 in return. So over time, if you're looking for the quick fix, if you're looking to get people in your door tomorrow, yes, paid advertising is probably a really good option. But if you are looking for the long-term, more impactful, less expensive option, organic is the way to go. And organic comes from the search engine optimization, which leads into the big question of the day that a lot of people ask. And that is, don't overcomplicate your search engine optimization. So a lot of times, well, I'll preface this by saying I'm not an SEO expert. I'm just going off of the things that have worked for my gym specifically and for the clients that I've worked with. Simply updating your website copy and adding a blog will help. That should immediately help to drive your social media because you're putting out fresh content and you're using keywords and phrases and providing valuable information that people want to know. Throw in some Google business page updates. So like I said, you should for sure have a Google business page for your business, and it allows you to click post. You can put offers in there, but posting is just the same as social media. You're putting an image, you're putting some kind of awesome caption about the vibe of your gym, some kind of call to action, things like that. If you make posts like that and get some more Google reviews, you can boost your SEO even more. Ultimately, you just need to keep it simple. So you're providing value instead of aiming for optimization. We can overcomplicate things by stuffing keywords and phrases into our content, making us sound like robots, doesn't sound at all like the vibe that we have or the culture that we have at the gym. And it's recognizable to people. Like you can tell when you're reading things that are stuffed with keywords. Be yourself. Talk like yourself, provide value, show that you're an authority in this area, and that will provide the value that people are looking for. One quick update from the latest Google. I mean, Google all the time is changing their algorithm on how they are ranking and all kinds of things. And the latest one, I'm sure you've noticed, is the summary at the top. That has somewhat become controversial because if you're like me, you ask the question or you search the thing, it gives you the summary, and now I don't scroll anymore. I'm not going down and I'm not clicking on websites. I just read the summary, and that kind of answered my question. So I think while Google was intending for that to be really helpful, word on the street is from the SEO people that I'm speaking to, it's kind of screwed Google because their main thing is to get people linked to other websites. There's a whole industry out there, and like we're all part of, we're trying to be ranked so that people see our website. And Google's new summary is prohibiting people from doing that because they stop at the summary. So you can rest assured that they probably have some big brain people working on that right now and will fix it eventually. But for the time being, that summary thing is it's a very interesting little like wrench that's been thrown into it. And it also is drawing a lot of that summary from user generated content. So instead of it coming directly from the websites, like like from CrossFit itself, it is drawing from things like Reddit or Wikipedia or user generated content to answer those questions. So it's kind of a mess at the time that we're doing this recording, and I'll be curious to see down the road how that changes. But I would say in the time being, and for the short and long term plan, just keep doing what you're doing. Make sure you're providing that valuable content, because that's Google knows that it can read and scan and know that you are giving information about getting better at fitness, better nutrition, healthier lifestyles, all those things. It sees that as valuable content, and it connects it to what you're trying to do. You throw in those Google reviews and show them that like this is a legit business that is putting out things that people need to hear and are searching for. And that's ultimately the simplicity of the social media or the search engine optimization. One other random update, just as a heads up, that Google now scans your social hashtags as well. So when you're making those posts on social media, yes, put your hashtag of like, I'm in Westfield, Indiana, but so I would do hashtag Westfield, Indiana, hashtag Westfield Gym. But if the post is about, if it's someone's strength training, men's strength training, uh, women's group fitness classes, think about your target avatar, because Google will factor that in as it's doing its searches to see what your business does and how relevant you are and how much content you're putting out around that. So I'm going to give you a few real life examples, and tell me if my screen goes dark on you again, because I can't see that part. But I did have a gym that I have been working with that didn't have a very big staff. And so they knew the importance of onboarding and didn't have a team to facilitate an onboarding program. They talked about the different options of like we could do a once a week evening class, but then there were people who couldn't make it to that. They talked about doing PT sessions, but they just didn't have the manpower for that. So as a short-term solution, we created a content idea of an onboarding workflow for new members. So once a week, their members would receive a PDF that gave them the information that they needed in an email for that upcoming week. So if you think about over the course of the first 90 days, all the information that your new gym owners, all the questions they have, all the information you want to tell them, and it gets redundant from your side, right? Like you're constantly saying the same thing over and over to new members, but it's a lot, and it's very important for the retention in their long-term journey. So if you think about all that, all the things that you're saying, but break it down into bite-sized pieces, that is how we approached this onboarding workflow. So week one, they are literally just getting information about like, here's how you check into classes. Here's what you should wear to class. Please don't be late. Ask your coach any questions, things like that. Now, once they've gotten to week two, they've got 1 week of classes under their belt, and it's a few more questions like, tell me more about the difference between RX and scaled. And then, later on, we're talking about more of like, if you're going to be lifting heavy, maybe consider this equipment, things like that. But it's bite-sized pieces that they can consume at their own pace in this PDF. Each of the PDFs is a maximum of 3 pages. So there's the cover page and then just 2 other pages. So you're not giving them too much information at once. But this kind of saves the coach manpower of having to explain all these or to do like a 101 class. It's a short-term solution. Is it perfect? No. What we want is a coach walking through every single thing with them. But is it a solution for the short term with content? Yes, it absolutely helped some of those people in those first few weeks to get some of the information. And then we always say, questions about this, come to class at the next time that you're there and ask your coach about it, because we're happy to help with that. Short-term solution, but allowed them to help and save some manpower on that. Second example is a brand awareness campaign for a company called Beyond Strength and Endurance. They did my programming for the 8 years that I had my gym when we had CrossFit in it, and then they're doing my programming now again. The owner is really good at programming, but he's not a games athlete. And he's like, I realize that I am not a games athlete, and so I have to figure out a way to stand out among my competition, which are programming companies that are games athletes. They already have the brand awareness because of their name. So how do I stand out? His big thing is like, I mean, you can see on here, his phrase is the key is helping people break personal records without breaking their bodies. He is more programming for longevity and making sure that like if people want to come to class 5 to 6 days a week, they can, and they're not feeling wrecked. And so he was like, how do I, there's so much messaging out there and there are a bunch of programming companies. How do I stand out? So we did a brand awareness campaign, and how this correlates to your gym is the same thing. You might have an Orange Theory down the road. You might have an F45 down the road. You have to find a way to stand out and get a message out there that is, we are different than the franchises out there. We are different. It might be, we are different than the elite CrossFit gym down the road, or the super, excuse my language, super shitty CrossFit gym down the road that like is wrecking people. It might be a brand awareness campaign to say, this is what CrossFit is in our gym. And so we first worked on the website copy. We then went to social media, and then we went to an email campaign. And all of those things combined together is what allow people to continually hear that message over and over and build that brand awareness. So when they're looking for in your case, a gym, a new gym, that you are top of mind for them. Current member workflow. So we talked about the first 90 days of somebody's membership experience. And I will say the first 90 days, I believe, are so pivotal in terms of them staying for the long term. That's when, you know, you want as many touch points with them as possible to make sure they understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, and why they should stay at why your gym is the best at what you do to provide them with that long-term plan. But after those first 90 days, a lot of times gyms just kind of let people do their own thing. And there isn't anything intentional out there to be driving revenue and making sure that we are still focusing on retention. So I'm working with a current client of mine on a current member workflow that is designed to start after the first 90 days, and it is a 1-year workflow. So it's going to take them through the first year and 90 days of their the first year and a half of their membership. 2 goals in this campaign. One, we want to provide value for people. That's the most important thing, because if they're getting these emails all the time from you, you don't want them to unsubscribe. You want them to feel like, oh, good, there's some new information coming my way, and this is going to help me with nutrition or fitness or whatever it may be. But then the second goal is to sell more stuff, and that's where the revenue part comes in. So when we're providing value, we are giving them helpful information about their training, nutrition, mobility. There are so many different things that we can provide them as, again, bite-sized tidbits of helpful information that just help them to recover better, eat better, have a better time at the gym, all those kind of things. Remind members about ways to get connected. This content is evergreen, so we don't put anything in there that's like, Murph is coming up on Memorial Day, because this is automated. And if they got an automated email about Murph in November, it's not going to make any sense. So it's evergreen content that's just like, here's some helpful information that has helped all of our members along the way that we're providing you value with. But the whole goal of this is to sell more stuff, because along the way, we are upselling our services. If you've got personal training, recovery, skills sessions, things like that, special offers for, you know, your apparel, for your bars and drinks in the pro shop, asking them to refer their friends, inviting them to write a Google review. The whole goal of this is we are providing you enough value that every time we ask you for something, people are like, wow, they have been super helpful. Of course, I can do this thing that they're asking for. So I always say the pro tip is to follow the 80-20 rule with this. If you provide them valuable content 80% of the time, when you are asking for dollars in the remaining 20%, they aren't going to have a problem with it. You've given me so much helpful information. You helped me with my nutrition. I didn't think about this mobility stuff. I actually avoided an injury because of it. Of course, I'm going to fill out a Google review when you ask me to do it. But I didn't even think about the fact that you wanted a Google review until you asked for it. So that's the big key to this, is making sure that we're including that call to action. And then finally, in the real life examples, there are 2 different types of content that I usually work with gyms on. One is the plug and play content. So there's a CrossFit gym I'm working with in Canada that I just create a Google folder for them. It gives them the monthly calendar that says, on these days, these are the things that you're posting. For example, on this day, you're posting a blog. Then he goes into the blog folder, he copies the blog, he pastes it to his website and hits publish. On this day, you're going to be posting a social media, you're going to be making a social media post on Instagram and Facebook. You choose the photos from your gym. Here's the caption, copy, paste, post. he doesn't have to think about it. It's plug and play. So it gives them the blogs that are fresh and the SEO benefits that come from that, and then the social media posts without having to think about that. Then there's the customized content. So same gym, he is looking for bring a friend week. So we created some specific Canva content, which is just super simple Canva templates. But again, if you don't know how to use Canva, don't worry about it. There are people who can help with that. Myself, other people, I bet you have gym members who use Canva all the time that can help you with some super simple posts for like CTAs, like this bring a friend week. Or when he is posting those blogs, we want to make sure that we're getting more eyeballs on it than just the visitors to his website. So we are going to make specific posts for social media in his brand, colors, font, etc., on social media that links back to his website. And then a newsletter is a big one. I feel very strongly about a newsletter if it is done right. So I create custom newsletters for my clients in that the whole goal of it is not to just be like, what can we tell our members this month? The whole goal of it is we are trying to raise revenue. So yes, we're putting in information about things that are going on at the gym, but we are putting in plenty of calls to action. So sometimes it's like, check out this community business that is not our business, but we're doing this collaboration with them because if I put them in our newsletter, they're willing to put a sign in their coffee shop directing people to our gym. Or there's call to action of like, this is the sale that we're having on apparel. The whole point of the newsletter is not to just be publishing content, but to be publishing content that gets you revenue. And that can be done really well, cleanly, professionally in a monthly format. That's like, I've seen gym owners, I've worked with gym owners that are like, every time I send out the newsletter, my revenue goes up because essentially I've asked for all these things in this simple format that looks like a content value, and then people are buying and referring and giving Google reviews and things like that. So that's the customized content. So one last thing that I want to say before I wrap this up is that I believe gym owner burnout is real. When I worked at Push Press for that time that I was there as the content manager, I asked a lot of times to people, what are some things that you want to talk about as gym owners? What are the things that you struggle with? And burnout was a big one, and I get that. I understand that feeling. I have talked to plenty of gym owners, and so I just want to say, not related to content, don't be afraid to ask me for help, to ask other gym owners for help. There's an amazing community here of your affiliate regional leaders, other affiliate owners. We all are kind of feeling the same thing, and life is hard sometimes. So never be afraid to reach out for stuff like that. So I'm going to put up my my contact information here on my website. If you go to fullsendcontent.com/gyms, that is specifically directed towards gym owners, and you can find some information there. I will also put this in the information that we send to you as the follow-up PDF. My email is monica@242mph.com. So feel free to email me if you'd like. And then my Instagram handle is Full Send Content Lab, and my personal handle is just the Monica Hilton. So I would love to connect with some of you guys as well. And I think, man, I took up a lot of time explaining all that stuff. I'm going to close this down here, stop sharing my screen, and go back and see if you guys have questions.
Monica, that was great. I immediately felt challenged when you said the call to actions because I'm pretty sure I rarely put call to actions on any
You
of our
never
marketing.
ask. I know.
No.
It's so simple, but we don't think about it.
So Amy asked this earlier. So Amy Lockler asked this: is there any help out there with Google? My business account is disabled. Can't get any help. Didn't know if you had any information on that.
Um, man, Google is so frustrating sometimes. It's the same thing as trying to contact Facebook when you're like, this is not working the way it's supposed to. No, I don't have any specific information on the, gosh, I wish I could help with that. It really is a matter. Sometimes it's a matter of a waiting game, waiting for them to respond because it's like they're like, we'll get to it when we get to it. But honestly, if there is an opportunity for you to like check out the locations and maybe shut down your current one and open another one just as a fresh business page, hopefully you don't have like hundreds of reviews that you have to start over. If that's the case, then don't shut that down. But it is going to be one of the like You know how in Google there's like 50 different things you can click on and none of them make any sense in terms of like user profiles and who's allowed to do this and roles and things. It's like Facebook. It's going to be one of those. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But if there's an option in there to like just if you don't have a fully established tons of reviews page, I
Looks
would
like she
almost
has a lot of reviews. She
does
said
she
11
okay.
years, 11
Yes.
years.
Well, I'm surprised then that they're not helping you out with that. I'm really sorry. I don't have. I wish I had a someone I could text from Google and be like, get on this, but I do not.
That'd be great if we did. Hey, Ryan Parker asked a great question. So Ryan said, what are the easiest ways to quantify, love that word, to quantify the effectiveness of our content, especially IG?
Okay, so that again leads back to the fact that if you're looking at Instagram and you're like, this post isn't selling me a membership, or these 10 posts didn't sell me a membership, there is no direct correlation really, because you are not able to see when someone left Instagram, went to your website, and then booked a consultation or booked a free class. All you can do now is, let's call it starting from scratch. Look at your analytics now of what your website traffic is like, what you're probably generally not even going to get a lot of extra followers just from specifically posting content unless it's really good and your members are sharing it. But ultimately, website traffic and then your metrics like booking appointments and then closing sales, start with where you're at. Start with just a simple monthly, this is where I'm at on those metrics. And then as you start posting more quality content, keep looking at those same metrics over the upcoming months, and you should see a correlation between those. Think about it like it's ultimately a sales funnel, right? We are just trying to get as many people to our website as possible. And I don't care if that comes from Instagram and I don't care if that comes from Google, but like the more people we can get in there, and that might come from optimization by posting more blogs and things like that. The more people we're getting to our website, the more appointments we're going to book, and the more we'll eventually close. So pick some simple key metrics like that you're easily able to look at over time. That's a really good question.
In your experience, I mean, maybe this is just my false mind, but in my thought, I feel like more people are driving to my Instagram than my actual website.
Yep. And that's totally normal. It's because it's visual.
Okay.
That you're giving them the experience of like, I mean, I know you're building a gym right now, right? Like
Yeah.
you're getting people to see what it looks like from the ground up. And also for you uniquely, that's like a perspective of I could get in on the ground floor of something. But for anyone, it's the experience in there. And Instagram is just the visual way to do that. Like you will look at someone's website, and sometimes people have video, but a lot of times people just have still images, and
Yep.
that doesn't really give you the full vibe of what it's like there. So think about that in your posts of like, how can my videos be that way? And I would say like TikTok is also a good option for things like that. It's just not as big as Instagram for most likely our target demo.
That's good. Layla has a question. She says, her affiliate, their goal is to post things that our members want to share so we can tap into their warm market. What do you
Yes.
think of this?
Yes, I love that. That will help to grow your Instagram following. And the more engagement that you get with your posts, the more I mean, that's the algorithm, right? Then the more you're going to be seen for in the explore area where people are, where Instagram is recommending you. But yes, that is huge. What the one thing I would say is like, think about the example I gave of like, take the photos or the videos at the beginning of class when they look amazing and fresh. And so that's the thing that they want to share, instead of like, if you're always sharing that picture of that person who's like drenched in sweat, or like there's the other one too of everybody on the class that has just died on the floor. No one is going to see that and be like, I got to go join this gym, unless that's your target demographic. But that's very few of us that's our target demographic. So think about that. It's funny. Our members love it. Holy crap, I'm going to get my ass kicked today in class. But for someone who's never been there before, that's so intimidating.
So you made this comment earlier. So back in your like affiliate owner days, you said beautifully how burnout's real and we have the weight of all these other things on our shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume this, Monica, that you were like super organized and you had like, I'm going to focus this much time on social media this week and this much time on marketing. Or were you just like, I'll get to it when I can?
It was at the end before I sold it. It was, I'll get to it when I can. It truly for a lot of us is a manpower thing. Like we all have this list of if I had the time, I would do this. And a lot of times it's just a matter of finding the right people to jump in and fill that role. Like none of us wants to clean toilets, and that's one of the easiest ones at the beginning. That's like if I can just get someone even on a trade for a membership to take that off my plate, it's an hour or two of my week or day or whatever, however long you love cleaning the toilets for right now, to focus on something else. But yeah, it's so hard when you are fighting the fires that we fight as affiliate owners
Mhm.
to even say, let me come up with the list. Like I kind of know and I wish I had someone to help, but yeah, the in an ideal world, yes, we have a list and we'll get to it eventually, but yeah, it's tough. And that's why I say outsource the things that you can. If it's cleaning, cool. If it's programming, awesome. If it's content because you just don't know what you're doing, do like bring in the people that can help you in the areas that you don't know or that you need the most help.
Well, it's having the humility too to say like I don't have to do it all, which I think for a lot of affiliate owners at first is probably tough.
For sure. Yeah. Well, there is a personality. I feel like if like how many people do we still have left on this? 42 people. I bet if you polled most of us, it would be like, yeah, I got it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's there is something inherent about a CrossFit affiliate owner that is different than even a typical gym owner, but that is different than a typical business owner in that we will work until the job is done, even if that means we are completely burnt out and then get up and do it again the next day. So yes, that is absolutely a thing, and that's what leads to burnout, because we're like, I could ask for help, but I'm not gonna, you know.
Totally agree. All right, so we had another question come in. Do you think Instagram or YouTube live streams are effective, either for answering questions or just showcasing how we do a CrossFit class? Or does that remove the hook to maybe come into a trial class?
I would say that is going to be a case by case thing. So, depending on your demographic, depending on how well you do the video, like there's going to be so many different things. So, I would say for everybody, try it. If it gets a good response, then definitely keep doing it. I would never say, no, that's not a good idea. And I wouldn't say that's a great idea for everybody. I think this is a situation of like, if you try that and your video ends up being really crappy, or let's say, God forbid, someone hurts themselves in the class that you're live streaming, that's not going to go well. But like, there, if you do it really well and you somehow are able to like put yourself in the shoes of, if you can make the video feel like I'm in a class with everybody. So, you're standing on the floor and you're surrounded by people doing the workout and there's a coach, and I feel like I am experiencing the class. That would be a really cool thing to experiment with, but you really have to be intentional about how you're creating the video. But that's a great question. I like the idea for sure if it's done well.
All right, Monica, I'm going to hit the stop recording button here.
Monica.